Damien ruins horror movies.
Alright, it's about that time again for another episode of Damien Ruins Horror Movies. My name is Damien. I'm recording on Thanksgiving. I'm going to try and record this and put it out today, and it's like 3:30 right now, so I'm going to try and make this short and sweet, because I don't think anybody really wants to watch this video on a Thanksgiving. So let's start. The movie's called Blood Rage, and it came out in 1987. It's on Shudder. That's where I found it. I put it in my queue a long time ago, and coincidentally just started watching it like last weekend and realized, just by dumb luck, that it is a movie that takes place on Thanksgiving. So perfect. So I was not looking for a Thanksgiving movie this year. I just happened to accidentally find one. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one or not. Which is funny because Shudder is my queue on Shudder, and everything else is where I put movies that look good that I'm never going to watch. Because I always put them in there. I never look through my queue for movies to watch. I just look through Shudder. I'll look through the main menu and be like, oh wow, that movie looks good. That movie looks good. And I put them all on my list or queue, whatever it's called. And I never watch it. So I actually went through, and that's how I found this movie. Cool story, huh? The movie opens at the drive-in. It's actually inside. There's like the concessions. There's like a building that you go in and you buy your popcorn and soda and all that. And there's a guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's buying popcorn. And he goes in the bathroom, and luckily for him, Ted Raimi's there selling condoms. Because this guy did not have enough forethought to bring his own condoms. And then we head over to a car where there's a woman and a man. Not a teenager. She has two kids, twin sons. They're in the back. It's a station wagon. And she thinks the kids are asleep. So the guy's like, hey, they're asleep. So they start making out. And the two kids, Terry and Todd, sneak out the back. Somehow I don't know how you can get the back of a station wagon open without making any noise. But they sneak out the back with a hatchet. And they go to the car. It's the car of the guy who was buying the condoms from Ted Raimi. Not being inconspicuous at all, Terry just kind of sticks his face in, like, where they're like getting it on. And finally the guy's like, get out of here! Get out of here! Get out! And the kid's just staring at him. Then he takes his hatchet and starts whacking him in the head and kills him. The chick freaks out and screams and runs naked. And like a crowd comes. So the brother's like, uh-oh. Quick thinking on his feet. He's like got blood on him, and he kind of looks at his brother and he's like, and rubs it on his brother's face like, hold this. And he's like, my brother just killed this guy. And the brother, it's like he's a mute. He just sits there with the hatchet in his hand, and 10 years later brings us to now, Thanksgiving Day. That's a little Thanksgiving tie-in right there. And the mom, Maddie Simmons, is at the hospital trying to visit Todd. She's talking to the doctor, Dr. Berman, who is a woman. A woman in a powerful role in 1987? The hell, you say? And the doctor's explaining how Todd's been, how he's doing. Apparently Todd, he's been locked up since that day, and he's been kind of babied since that day, so he hasn't really matured. He's like the same maturity level that he was then. So she goes home to Shadowwoods Apartments, which is where most of this movie takes place, in this apartment complex. And she's having Thanksgiving dinner with Brad, the manager, who she just announced that she is engaged to marry. And she's got a girl named Andrea and her mom are there, and then Karen's there. And Karen is like Terry's girlfriend. I hope I don't mess up and say Todd when I mean Terry, because I'm sure I will. Terry is the killer that didn't get locked up. Terry's the one that framed his brother. Todd's the one that's innocent but locked up. Finding out that Terry's mom is getting married has kind of triggered the little cock blocker. You can tell he's mad. Then the phone rings. Mom goes in, answers it, and she talks. Then Terry goes in to see what's going on. And she's like, just finds out that Todd escaped. And she says, okay, she hangs up the phone. She's like, hey, okay, Terry, your brother's escaped, but we want to keep this on the down low, okay? So don't say anything when we get back there. And he's like, oh, I won't. So they go out there, they sit down, and immediately Terry says, well, looks like my psychotic little twin brother has escaped from the mental institute. And his mom's like, what the fuck? But it's just so funny the way he says it. It's just all nonchalant. Oh, pass the gravy. But knowing that Todd is on the loose, now little cockblock Terry has the perfect alibi to kill all these people, because Terry freaks out whenever his mom has any kind of contact with men, it seems like. But he's had to pen it up all these years. And now he doesn't have to, because now Todd can take the rap for it again. And when he goes outside, he runs into Dr. Berman and her assistant guy. He's got a stun gun that looks like a real gun. It shoots tranquilizer darts. They're like, oh, I found you, Todd. They're like, I'm not Todd, I'm Terry, I'm his brother. They're like, oh, sorry. He's like, what's with the gun? So then Terry gets away, and the killing spree begins. And Mommy stays home with her weird cleavage and slowly starts losing her mind, which is kind of weird because it's obvious she just went and visited him, so she's come to grips. She understands the situation. My son killed somebody, he's locked up. But something about him escaping, it's like, okay, you knew. Yeah, maybe it's weird that he escaped, but it's not like you've received. It's not like you're acting like you just found out he killed somebody, and now you're losing your mind over it. When the reality is, you knew that, and the viewer, as we the viewer watch this, we know that you know it because you went and visited him. But now you're being all dramatic about it, and instead of doing anything productive, you're just like drinking wine and freaking out. The Thanksgiving dinner like disperses, and Karen runs into Todd. This is weird because I didn't realize that she was I watched the movie twice. So the first time I watched it, I didn't realize that Karen, Todd's girlfriend, was the girl having dinner with him. So when she runs into Todd, she runs into him, and I guess it's his girlfriend, but she's been out of town. So she just saw him at dinner, but now she's seeing him again. Well, she's seeing Todd now, and she's like, hey, I want to talk to you. And he's like, she offers to have sex with him and wants to work out in their relationship. But it's like, dude, you just saw this guy. His hair looked totally different. He was wearing different clothes. And it wasn't until he told you that, hey, I'm not Terry, I'm Todd. But he's like, we could still have sex. I've never even kissed a girl. And she's like, oh, you're the psycho. So she's kind of, well, I gotta go find, and she gets out of there safely, thinking her life was in danger. And she runs into Artie and Greg, two of Terry's friends, because Terry has a pretty normal life, you know, for being a psychotic secret killer. He gets along pretty normal, and everything's been going fine apparently for the last 10 years. He's Mr. Popular, and now suddenly he snapped, but nobody suspects anything. Nobody gives him shit for allegedly having a killer for a brother. And Terry has, I don't know if he snuck, but he's over at the other girl that was at dinner. Andrea, it's not Andrea's house, but Andrea's babysitting. She's babysitting a baby. And Terry goes over there, and he's getting on with her. So it's really strange, because okay, are you dating both these girls? And why would you have both of them over for Thanksgiving dinner? One of them brought their mom. I didn't understand that. And that's another, I didn't notice both of these girls were the same two girls that were at dinner with him. So he's there, and then the couple that they're babysitting for come home. And they're like, oh, hey, whatever their names are. And the guy doesn't live there. The guy that the lady that lives there is on a date with a guy, and she's okay with everything going on. The guy's like, well, what's going on here? Are you guys drinking? Are you guys having sex? And The lady's like, I don't care. Like the lady basically said, it's like, you can go ahead and get drunk and have sex, do whatever you want, just make sure my baby's safe. And so they're like, all right, well, see you later. They're like, well, they're not driving home, are they? And she's like, relax, we all live in the same apartment complex. They live right over there. So they leave. So her date, is like going to pour himself a drink. And he's like, oh, coconut liqueur. Should I drink this with ice or without? And then he just starts drinking it. It's like, why the hell did you even ask? They always put ice in it. Oh, too late. It's like, why'd you ask if you don't give a shit how you should do it? So then Terry comes back to the house, and while the lady is changing into something more comfortable, as they say in the 80s, and checking on the baby and saying, hey, I'm going to get you a rich daddy, Terry shows up and kills the rich daddy. And I think at this point he's already killed Brad. Because I was thinking, like, how come he never kills the people? Like, he gets triggered by his mom messing around with dudes, but then he never kills the dudes that she's messing around with. But this time he did. He killed Brad. Brad is dead. I think Terry's kind of lost both girls at this point. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of rushing through this. But he kills some more people. Then he catches up with Artie and Greg and Karen. But I think I'm getting, like, confused. Because originally he came out with Andrea. And Karen's like, oh... Like, I don't know. It's like it bothers her, but it doesn't. She was, like, gonna hook up with Artie for a second, but then Terry shows up. He's like, hey, Karen, remember me? And so she's kind of like, oh, okay, never mind, Artie. I'm gonna go with Terry. It's very strange. It's not even a triangle, this love. I don't know what this is. It's confusing because it's like he cares, but he's also got to kill people, but you don't want to lose her, but you don't want to lose the other girl either. So he's like juggling these girls right in front of them. And he's crazy. So they leave, and Artie gets a little surprise in the back of his car. It is good old Todd. He's like, oh shit, it's Todd. And Todd's got the tranquilizer gun. Did I just make that up? I don't think I did. But he's like Artie's like, oh shit, you're Terry's crazy brother. And Todd's like, I'm Todd, and Terry is my crazy brother, and we have to go find him and stop him because I think he's doing bad shit. And he's like, okay, sure, yeah, Terry's doing bad stuff. I'm with you, bro. We can do it. So somehow I forget. I feel bad. This is terrible. Somehow Karen, she loses Terry long enough to start finding bodies, and so she's like, okay, something's up. But she... like immediately knows that it's Terry doing it. She's not like, oh shit, I found these bodies. I better let Terry know that his brother is near and killing people. She's just kind of like, oh shit, Terry's killing people. I better get away from him. But then he realizes that she knows, and the little game of cat and mouse ensues. She ends up running into the apartment where Andrea was babysitting. And like finds their body, but the baby's still there, so she grabs the baby and makes a run for it with the baby, which is it's bad because you want to save the baby, but at the same time this baby is now crying, so wherever she goes the baby is like narking her off. The baby's basically saying, she's here, she's right here, she's right here. When I think she eventually stashes him. It's always weird when people stash babies. Like, I'm just gonna stick this baby in this cupboard, then I'm gonna hide over here. Back at Terry's apartment, his mom goes into the garbage and finds his shirt that he changed out on that had blood on it. Yeah, blood. It's not cranberry sauce. That was like this weird tagline Terry was trying to have, where it's like nobody even asked what was on his shirt. Nobody even saw him. He was like by himself. He's like, whoa. He'd kill somebody and get blood on his shirt and be like, I think he even licked his fingers like, oh, it's not cranberry sauce. It's like, no shit. Nobody thinks that. And you're not even talking to anybody. Eventually, Todd finds Terry. And there's a little Todd and Terry showdown. Because Todd finally has the balls to stand up to his brother. But before he can actually do something, Mom shows up. And Mom's got a gun. And Mom knows that there's been murders because she's got the bloody shirt. Oh, and she found Brad's body. And so she's like, shit, I have to kill my son. So she shoots Terry. And, justice served. She killed the right brother. And then she starts like crying and hugging Todd, and he starts comforting her. He realizes that she thinks that she just killed Todd. She thinks that she killed him. She didn't realize she just killed Terry. And she's crying anyway, and she's upset about it. But then he's like, wait a minute, she thinks. He's like, well, it's just us now. He's like, wait a minute. Oh, you think you killed me when you killed the right guy? It's just the right guy isn't who you thought it was. And then he's like, it's me, Todd. That's Terry. She's like, what? And so now she thinks she killed the wrong brother. She can't kill another one of her kids. She just killed one of them. She can't deal with it, so she shoots herself in the head. And that's the end of the movie. So that this video has been kind of a shit show, but but what do we get out of it? We get a brand new award, and it is the Shitty Brother Award, and it goes to Terry, because Terry can't stop fucking his brother over. Worst brother. If you think you have a bad brother, go watch this movie and then buy your brother a beer or an ice cream, however old you are. And because his brother, it's just like, it's bad enough the first time. And it's like, I'm gonna go kill this guy. I'm gonna frame my brother for it. And it's like, because framing your brother for murder is pretty bad. And then 10 years later, your brother escapes, and you frame him for a bunch of other murders. You're kind of an asshole at that point. What did we learn? Survival tales. 1. Don't take your kids with you when you go on makeout dates. Fuck's sake. 2. Don't stop for a weed break when you're looking for a killer. 3. Lock your door if you're going to cheat on your man. Come on. That's common sense. That is it. Happy Thanksgiving. I wonder if I can actually get this up to date the way that I want it to be, because it's like 4 o'clock now and I have a bunch of stuff to do to it. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe. Go ahead and leave a comment. If you want to complain about how bad this was, I'm all ears. I'm on your side, okay? See you next time. Bye.